Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
It started with laughter, the kind that wasn't really laughter, more of a slurred, careless chuckle wrapped in the scent of expensive wine and poor decisions. The restaurant had been dimly lit, a cozy little place where conversations melted into candlelight and soft music. But all I could hear was her voice, sharp and unfiltered, as she drained another glass and leaned into me. "You know what's funny?" She slurred, her lips curling into something that was meant to be a smile but landed closer to a sneer. I already knew it wasn't going to be funny. She tilted her head back, staring at the ceiling for a moment as if searching for the right words. Then she looked at me, really looked at me, and something flickered in her eyes. Not love, not admiration. Something colder. "I was never attracted to you." The words dropped between us like a bomb, shattering whatever illusion of warmth the evening had held. The background chatter of other diners faded into static. The wine in my own glass suddenly tasted bitter. I swallowed, forcing my voice to stay steady. "What?" She waved her hand dismissively, as if it wasn't a big deal. As if she hadn't just unraveled years of my life with one drunken confession. "I mean, I love you." "Sure. But, I was never into you, you know? Physically." She laughed again, shaking her head. "It's weird, right? How did we even get here?" I stared at her. The woman I had built a life with. The woman I had chosen above all others. The woman who, in a single breath, had reduced our marriage to something transactional, something tolerated, not cherished. She was oblivious to the weight of her own words. Or maybe she didn't care. She just sat there, swirling the last of her wine in her glass, humming along to the jazz music playing over the restaurant speakers. I felt something inside me snap, not with anger, not even with heartbreak, but with clarity. She had just told me the truth. Maybe it was the alcohol loosening her tongue. Maybe it was something she had buried so deep that even she hadn't acknowledged it until now. But I believed her. I should have felt devastated. Maybe a part of me was. But another part, the part that had been silently wondering why things had felt so hollow for months, felt like it had just been set free. For the rest of the dinner, I barely spoke. She didn't notice. Or if she did, she didn't care. She rambled about work, about some reality show she'd been watching, about how we should repaint the living room. She was planning the future while I was watching our past crumble into dust. By the time we got home, she was too drunk to notice the way I moved differently. Too caught up in her own world to sense the storm brewing beneath my calm exterior. She kicked off her heels in the hallway, sighing dramatically. "Ugh, I drank too much." I didn't respond. She turned to me, blinking slowly, her expression hazy. "Hey, don't look at me like that. It's not that deep. You're a good guy." She hiccuped. "I just had to say it, you know?" I nodded. Not because I agreed, but because I finally understood. "I need to lie down," she murmured, stumbling toward the bedroom. Within minutes, she was out cold, her breath slow and steady, completely unaware that everything had changed. I stood in the doorway, watching her for a long time. I had spent years building this life, pouring everything I had into a marriage that, in the end, had been nothing more than a compromise for her. And maybe, just maybe, I had been compromising myself too. I exhaled slowly, the decision forming in my mind as naturally as breathing. No arguments. No desperate pleas. No trying to make her see my worth. By sunrise, I would be gone. No notes. No goodbyes. Just a silence that would speak louder than any words ever could. I moved through the house like a ghost, leaving no trace of myself behind. It was 4:12 a.m. The night still clung to the world outside, but the first hints of morning lingered on the horizon. The air was cool, still, and different. Just like I needed to be. She was still asleep, her breathing deep and steady. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, watching her for a moment, not with love, not with hate, but with clarity. For years, I had given everything to this marriage, to the illusion of what we were supposed to be. And in the end, I was nothing more than a placeholder, a convenience, someone she had settled for. And I wasn't going to be that anymore. In the closet, I pulled out a suitcase, unzipping it with a slow, careful motion. I couldn't afford noise. Every sound, every misplaced step could wake her, and I wasn't ready for that conversation. Not that it would change anything. I packed only the essentials, 3 shirts, a pair of jeans, some cash I had stashed away for emergencies. My laptop, my passport, my watch. It was all I needed. I left my wedding ring on the dresser, placing it gently on top of the note she had scribbled a few nights ago about grocery shopping. It felt fitting, just another task on her list, something to check off and move on from. My phone was next. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the screen, at the picture of us from years ago. We looked happy. Maybe we were. Maybe it had always been a lie. A few taps, and it was done. Factory reset. No contacts. No messages. No evidence of the life I was leaving behind. I placed it next to the ring and stood up, rolling my shoulders to shake off the weight of the moment. This wasn't an act of anger. It wasn't revenge. It was freedom. I moved through the house, passing by the framed pictures on the wall, the frozen moments of vacations, birthdays, holidays. I didn't stop. I didn't let myself feel anything. In the kitchen, I set my keys on the counter. A small act, but a final one. I wouldn't be coming back. I thought about writing a note. Maybe something simple, something that would linger in her mind long after I was gone. You never wanted me. Now you don't have to pretend anymore. Or maybe just one word. Goodbye. But no. She didn't deserve that closure. Let her wake up to silence. Let her feel the emptiness, the void where I used to be. Let her wonder, just for a second, if she had finally gone too far. I stepped outside, pulling my suitcase behind me. The air smelled different, cleaner, sharper. I walked to my car, slid into the driver's seat, and gripped the wheel. As I pulled out of the driveway, the house stood behind me like a monument to everything that had been and would never be again. I didn't look back. The city stretched ahead, vast and open, its neon lights still glowing from the night. I had no set destination, no plan, just the knowledge that whatever lay ahead had to be better than what I was leaving behind. The GPS blinked to life, waiting for an input. I stared at it for a moment before typing in an address, a small coastal town a few hundred miles away. By the time she woke up, I would be gone. No notes, no goodbyes, just absence. And this time, it would be the loudest thing she'd ever hear. The first thing she noticed was the silence. Not the comforting kind, not the lazy morning quiet where I was making coffee in the kitchen. This was different, unnatural, like something had been erased. She groaned as she shifted under the covers, her head pounding from the wine she had drowned herself in the night before. The room was dim, the heavy curtains blocking out the daylight, but something felt off. She reached out instinctively, her hand brushing against the empty space beside her. It took a few seconds for her fogged-up mind to register what was missing. Me. She sat up, blinking, rubbing her face as she tried to piece together the night before. The restaurant. The drinks. The way she had laughed, throwing careless words into the air without a second thought. And then, nothing. She reached for her phone. That was the second thing she noticed. It wasn't there. Frowning, she turned to the nightstand, and that's when it hit her. The ring. Sitting there, cold, lifeless, stripped of meaning. And my phone. She grabbed it, pressing the power button. Nothing. She held it longer. Still nothing. No messages, no notifications, no missed calls. It had been wiped clean. For the first time in years, panic crept in. A slow, curling thing in her stomach, clawing its way up her spine. She swung her legs over the side of the bed and stood, wobbling slightly, the remnants of last night's alcohol still clinging to her. The house was eerily empty. No sound of the shower running. No scent of coffee brewing. No faint rustling of a newspaper. Just absence. She stumbled into the hallway, scanning the space like I had somehow hidden myself in the shadows. The kitchen was the same. The keys, the ones I had always tossed onto the counter at the end of the day, were sitting there. She reached for her own phone, her fingers trembling as she scrolled through our texts. Nothing recent. The last message from me was from yesterday afternoon, something stupid and mundane about dinner plans. Her heart pounded as she called my number. Straight to voicemail. She hung up and tried again. Same result. That's when she noticed something else. The closet door was slightly open. She rushed over, pulling it open wider, her breath catching when she saw what was missing. A suitcase. Clothes. My laptop bag. And in their place, only emptiness. She checked the bathroom. My toothbrush was gone. The dresser a half empty. The coat rack by the door, missing my favorite jacket. Her stomach churned. This wasn't me leaving for work. This was something else. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wedding ring I had left behind, and something unfamiliar bloomed in her chest. Fear. She dialed my office first. Hey, it's me, she said, forcing her voice to sound normal. Is he there? A pause. Then, didn't he tell you? He resigned. Sent in an email last night. Effective immediately. Her fingers tightened around the phone. What? I figured you knew. Everything okay? She forced a hollow laugh. Yeah, everything's fine. But it wasn't. She called my closest friend next. Hey, man. His voice was groggy. What's up? Have you seen him? She asked, her voice sharper than before. There was a pause. No? Why? She chewed her lip, trying to keep her voice steady. He's not answering. Just wanted to check. The silence stretched. Is everything all right? She ended the call before she had to answer that. She paced the kitchen, opening and closing cabinets, as if I had somehow left a clue behind. A note. A message. Something. But there was nothing. I was gone. She tried to rationalize it. Maybe I needed space. Maybe I was mad and just wanted to cool off. But deep down, she knew. This wasn't temporary. This wasn't a fight. This was her words coming back to haunt her. She sank onto the couch, gripping her phone like it was a lifeline, staring at the screen. For the first time, she whispered the words out loud. He left me. And for the first time in years, maybe for the first time ever, she understood what loss felt like. The house felt bigger than ever. She sat on the couch, staring blankly at the wedding ring I had left behind. It was just a piece of metal, and yet, in the last 24 hours, it had become something else entirely, an accusation, a judgment, a reminder of everything she had taken for granted. I was gone. Not just gone in the way people go for a walk to clear their heads. Not just gone in the way someone might check into a hotel for a night after an argument. No. I had disappeared. No social media activity. No calls returned. No credit card charges. No indication that I still existed in her world. And the worst part? No explanation. She checked her phone for the 100th time, scrolling through our old messages as if one of them would suddenly reply on its own. Nothing. The silence was suffocating. She had always thought I would be there, no matter what. Through the good, through the bad, through the moments where she was reckless with her words. And why wouldn't she? I had always stayed. I had always tried. Even when she pulled away, when she made excuses, when she threw barbed words at me and laughed at my insecurities, I had stayed. But now, when she needed me to stay the most, I was nowhere to be found. A wave of nausea rolled through her. She had done this. It had started with a joke, hadn't it? A throwaway comment. I was never attracted to you. It was supposed to be harmless. A drunk confession. A moment of brutal honesty that would fade by morning. She hadn't meant it, had she? But then the memories came flooding back. All the times she had dismissed me. All the times she had chosen work over us. All the times she had acted indifferent when I reached for her, when I tried to love her in ways she never reciprocated. Maybe she hadn't meant to hurt me. Or maybe she had never cared enough to consider whether she could. She called her best friend, the one who had always told her she was lucky to have me. I think he's gone, she said, her voice cracking. A pause. Then, gone where? I don't know, she admitted. He left. He quit his job. He's not answering his phone. He just left. Her friend hesitated. What happened? It was such a simple question, but it felt like a knife to the gut. What happened? She opened her mouth to explain, but the words felt ugly when she tried to say them out loud. What was she supposed to say? That she drunkenly confessed that she had never found her husband attractive? That she had been so certain of his loyalty, his patience, his love that she never thought there would be consequences? I don't know, she whispered. Her friend sighed. Maybe you should think about why he left before you try to find him. She hung up the phone. Over the next few days, she went through the motions. She went to work, but her focus was gone. Her coworkers noticed the shift in her demeanor, the way her usual sharp comments had dulled, the way her eyes flickered to her phone constantly, waiting for something that never came. She barely ate. She barely slept. She scrolled through old pictures of us, ones she hadn't paid much attention to before. Pictures from the early days, when I would kiss her forehead when she wasn't looking, when I would hold her hand in crowded rooms just to remind her I was there. She had forgotten what it felt like to be loved like that. And now, she was learning what it felt like to lose it. She tried calling my family, but they were stone cold with her. He's fine, was all my sister would say. And that was worse than anything, because it meant that my absence wasn't an accident. I had chosen this. She tried everything. Emails. Voicemails. A long, tearful message at 2 a.m., whispering that she was sorry, that she didn't mean it, that she didn't want to lose me. And still nothing. The absence wasn't just a punishment. It was a statement. One she could no longer ignore. 1 week after I left, she sat at her desk, staring at a blank email draft. She had tried texting. She had tried calling. But this was different. This was the last thing she had. She typed, slowly, carefully, as if she was finally realizing that words had consequences. Subject, please. I know I hurt you. I know I took you for granted. I don't even know if you're reading this. But if you are, please, just tell me you're okay. I won't ask for more than that. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She had spent so many years thinking she held all the power. That I would always be the one waiting. That I would always be the one willing to fight for us. And now, she was the one waiting. The one wondering. The one hoping. She deleted the rest of the sentence and pressed send. Then she sat back in her chair, staring at the screen, waiting for something that might never come. The email sat in her sent folder, a small, desperate thing waiting for an answer. She checked it every hour, then every 15 minutes. Then, when nothing came, she left it open on her screen, as if staring at it long enough might summon a reply. Days passed. Nothing. She didn't know if I had read it, if it had gone straight to spam, or if I had seen her name in the sender field and deleted it without a second thought. Maybe that was the worst part, not the silence, but the not knowing. She had told herself, at first, that it was just space, that I would cool down and come back. But the days dragged on, and reality settled in. She stopped checking social media, not because I had blocked her, I hadn't, but because seeing my profile sit there, untouched, felt worse than seeing it gone. She saw her friends less. When she did, the conversations were strained, heavy with the weight of something unspoken. Nobody said it, but she knew what they were thinking. You did this. She wasn't the same person anymore. She wasn't laughing as much. She wasn't making sarcastic remarks about her coworkers. She wasn't herself. Or maybe for the first time, she was seeing who she really was. It came at exactly 3:14 a.m. A single notification. One new email. Her breath caught. She fumbled with the phone, her fingers shaking as she unlocked the screen. It was from me. The subject line was blank. The body of the email was short. Just one sentence. I'm alive, but I'll never be yours again. She inhaled sharply, her eyes blurring. She had hoped for more. Maybe not a reconciliation, but at least a conversation. Something she could hold on to. But this was absolute. There were no questions. No blame. No anger. Just a statement of fact. She reread the email over and over again, waiting for it to change, for the words to shift into something softer. They never did. This wasn't an argument she could win. It wasn't a problem she could talk her way out of. It was final. Her fingers hovered over the reply button. She could say so many things. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Can we talk? But she knew none of it would matter. She had always thought she held the power in our marriage, that I was the one afraid to lose her. Now, she realized I was never the one who needed to be afraid. Somewhere far from that house, I stood on a beach, feeling the first rays of sunrise on my face. The ocean stretched endlessly before me, wide and open, just like the rest of my life. I had let go. Of the past. Of the pain. Of her. And for the first time in years, I was free.
Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.